All right, hey guys, welcome back to the Psychic Sherry YouTube channel. We're here talking to Sherry Klein again. We're going to discuss
Hi.
topics related to the supernatural and the spirit world. Today, we're going to let Sherry share some of her experiences and many experiences she's had over the course of her long life. uh, there are a lot of experiences, so we'll break the video down into different sections. So this is part one. Sherry, you've had a ton of experiences over the years, probably a lot more than most people, including myself. Uh, is it just you're more open to these things than anybody else, or you somehow attracting all these things happening to you? What's it all about?
You know, I guess I'm not really for sure because a lot of these things started when I was younger. I was very intuitive even as a child, and then I kind of shut it down. But then a lot of these things started happening. Maybe it was my higher self giving me breadcrumbs because I do love this stuff
Yeah,
to
yeah,
lead me into
could
what I
be.
do today. And then it's like the more I connected with spirit, then the more open I became, which makes me, I guess I want to say, a bigger target, so to speak,
Yeah,
because my energy is more out there. And that might be why a lot of these things happen. And I'm open to it. It scares me a lot of it, but after the fact, I love it. So maybe that's why it keeps
yeah.
coming.
But I know you talk about frequency a lot. Maybe your frequency is just a little higher than the average person that the spirits are like attracted to that higher frequency. I don't I
Maybe.
don't know.
You know, because the house that we grew up in was haunted. We
Yeah,
all had experiences there. And then when we sold the house, those people, remember our sister went and talked to them. Nothing. They
yeah,
seen nothing that went on there. And we're like, you've got to be
yeah,
kidding.
I know. Well, maybe the house itself had a higher frequency. We were just there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just
I don't know.
matched the frequency of the home. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's hard to explain, but I know you have a lot, so you're going to share some of them with us today. Which
Okay.
which one do you want to start off with?
Um, I want to start off, and this happened about 42 years ago. And the only reason I can kind of pinpoint it is because I didn't have any kids at that point. Otherwise,
Uh,
I'm bad at dates. But I was in my early 20s and I lived in an apartment complex, and it was a big one, and I lived on the end. And I came out my door because I thought my car had a kind of a slow leak in the tire, and I needed to take it down to the gas station, fill it full of air. So I came out of my door, and there was a sidewalk in front of my apartment complex, and there was this guy right there, and he was walking the long way around my apartment. It was a big apartment, but I was startled when I looked at him because he almost resembled Charles Manson. And I thought, oh, that's kind of creepy.
yeah,
So didn't think, I know he didn't have the tattoo on the forehead, but everything else kind of looked
yeah.
like that. And so I got in my car, drove down the street a couple of miles, and here's this guy walking back towards my apartment. There's no way he could have got to that point, even if he were in a car, because it didn't take me very long to go a couple miles down the street.
Yeah.
So then
Wow.
I'm like, okay. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. I drive a couple of more miles down the street to the gas station. I get out of my car, I turn around, and he's walking up behind me. And
Huh.
again, even if he were in a car, he couldn't have got there. He was walking back towards my apartment. So by this point, I'm starting to get nervous because I don't know what's going on. And I fill up my tire real quick. He goes into the gas station. I get back in my car. I'm driving back a couple miles down the road, and here's this guy again. Only this time,
Wow.
and he was walking back towards the gas station. it was so strange. But this time I slowed down, and when I did, he just turned and stared at me like that all the way. I was
Jeez.
freaking out. I thought, "Oh my,
Hmm.
am I gonna die? Is this like my guardian angel? Because if it is, and he looks like Charles Manson, this might not end well, you know?"
That's
But it was, and nothing else ever came of it. I scurried home, went inside, never saw the guy again. And of course, I didn't meditate on it and ask my guides, and I still to this day has not. But I wasn't even into this stuff at that point. Um, so yeah, sometimes I just don't know the rhyme and reason why things like that happen.
that's weird.
And it was definitely the same guy. Um, Another strange thing, gosh, it's like my head floods at night, of all these memories that come up. One time I went on a ghost hunt with some people. I don't really care for those. I can't stay up that late. They like to stay up all night. I'm in bed by 8, So,
Mhm.
but anyway,
Yeah.
we were there. It was it was a really hot summer night, and the lady thought her house was haunted. So several of us went there, and they did their thing, whatever it is they do. And then we a couple of us, three of us, walked out into this barn, and one of the people had an infrared camera. It was really hot in this barn, and it was just creepy. But we were sitting down, two of us. I was sitting here, and somebody else was sitting next to me. And then there was like something open behind us. I don't know what it was, but it was still part of the barn. And all of a sudden I said, "Oh, that feels so good." It was like somebody put an air conditioner on my back. And I'm like, "Oh, thank God," because everybody was sweating. And the person next to me goes, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Can't you feel that air? It's like so cold. It feels great." "Nope, nope, I can't." Well, then it dawned on me, because by this point, I was already into all of this mediumship and psychic stuff. I knew something was coming up behind me. So I told the person with the infrared camera, I'm like, "Start taking pictures because I can feel this coming up." We couldn't see it, but in the picture, this hand is coming up behind me, and it looks just like a ghost hand. Comes up further, further, and then it just kind of morphs around my face.
Ugh.
Yeah, and that picture is on my website. If you go, I think it's right up there,
Yeah.
psychicshari.com. It's not on the first page, but if you hit the about, like about Shari, there's two pictures on there. I don't know what happened to the picture where it morphed around and grabbed my whole face almost. Almost like the spirit was saying, "Help me, I'm trapped. Help me get to the other side." And
Wow.
but yeah, that picture's on the website. It's pretty cool. So
Wow.
yeah,
You
that
didn't you didn't help him get to the other side, did you?
no, because at that point, I didn't know any. This was early on in my when I started this professionally. I didn't know how to do that at that point.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah. So, but now, I mean, I would help them cross over. There are a lot of souls that are I consider kind of stuck here. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and the funny thing is, like the people sitting next to me couldn't feel the cold air at all. And spirit, yeah, spirit will do that to me. When I used to do parties where I would sometimes do readings for 6 hours straight, sometimes even longer. Yeah,
Ugh.
way too long. I'd come out of those parties, I could barely drive home. It would be like I'd be drunk or stoned or something. I couldn't even
You're lucky you didn't get pulled over.
home. And but then I would be so cold, and it's a cold that chills you all the way down to your bone. I could come home and get under 5 blankets and put a heating blanket on, and I would still be shivering. And it would take me hours to be able to get my body temperature back up.
Hmm. Ooh.
Yeah. And even now when I do readings, spirit will come in, and if what I'm getting ready to say they really want me to say it, or yeah, they're confirming this is true, I'll get shivers and cold. So
Is it that cold in the afterlife?
evidently, but it's so cool too, though, when I do the readings and I'll say, "Oh, somebody's giving you a hug," and it'll feel like a cold chill, and I go, "Did you get the chills on your arms?" And they'll be like, "Yeah," or I'll go, "Did you get them all the way on your legs?" And they'll be like, "I did." That's so crazy.
Wow,
So they can feel it the exact same time I can. So
really? Wow.
yeah.
What else you got for us?
Oh, gosh, there's so many. Um, one thing, spirit is around everybody, um, more than I think they know. I went in for a surgery on my hand or something. I had carpal tunnel, and I remember that I woke up in the not in the operating room, but I guess wherever the post wherever they take you after your operation, and I was paralyzed. I could only just open my eyes, and I couldn't breathe. There was a tube down my throat, um, and
For
it didn't
carpal
dawn.
tunnel?
Do what?
For carpal tunnel?
I don't know what surgery I was in there for.
Okay.
Maybe it wasn't the carpal tunnel. I can't remember. It was
You don't normally stick something down your throat when
well, it was
you
like a breathing tube or
yeah.
something. Well, it never dawned on me to breathe through my mouth. I don't know why. But I was paralyzed, and I could see this nurse's back towards me, and she was fiddling around with the instruments on this metal tray. And I could tell my eyes were starting to bulge out of my head. And I thought, I'm going to die here. I can't even breathe. And I could hear Irene, who's my joy guide, as plain as day, go, breathe through your nose or breathe through your mouth. And I said, oh. And when I did, it went like that. And the nurse turned around, and my face was probably purple by this point because I remember her dropping the instruments, and then she jerked the tube out of my mouth. And then, of course, it knocked me out, and that's all I remember. But sometimes I think if my guides weren't there, I would have probably been dead a long
You
time
forgot to
ago.
breathe.
Yeah. So,
Death by forgetting to breathe.
yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
funny?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they can come in, but usually they come in when you least expect them, or they do for me, because I tried conjuring them up, and
Uh,
usually it doesn't work. Sometimes it does, but
or
uh,
when you need them the most,
yeah,
hopefully they're there.
yeah. Or when you are in, like me, dire straits, like
Right.
I've had a lot of almost near death experiences. Not like that was near death, but I've had some that were. And I can tell when my guide comes in because she will say words that I never say. Um, oh, I was going to get out of my car, got totaled by a tree. I heard her say, stay put. I have never used that. I would have said, stop or don't go. So they'll use even
So
different.
say that again. Your car got totaled by a tree.
It was the
You ran into
strangest
it, or
thing. I would, I was on my way to work. I clean houses, and it was a nice day. I looked up at the sky, and there was this rainbow. It was beautiful. And I remember calling my husband, and I'm saying, this is the weirdest thing. The skies are blue, there's no storm, and there is this beautiful rainbow in front of me. And he's like, okay, whatever. He didn't really
yeah.
care. So I'm almost to my first house that I'm going to go in and clean, and this horrific storm came through, and it was so bad. I I literally I could only see like that far in front of my car. I was panicking because I thought I've got to try to make it to this first house because I can't stay on the street. Somebody's going to run right into me. So somehow through the rain and the wind, I made it up into this driveway of the house I'm getting ready to go into. And I thought, I knew she wasn't home. So I thought, I'm running in here, and I'm going to run through the house, open her garage door, and I'm putting my car in there because I cannot afford to have another insurance claim because at that point my house had flooded twice. And so I'm getting ready to make a run for it, and it was so bad. And I was scared, and I go, Lord, protect me. The second I said that, a huge tree branch flew through my windshield and busted my windshield. And
Really?
I thought, oh, really? Thanks. And then I thought, oh, I forgot to say protect my car because the glass, it didn't bust all the way out, but little slivers of glass. I even had them in my mouth, but I
Yeah.
didn't get any in my eyes. And I did not wear glasses at that point. And it was all over my lap, these little shavings of glass. And it was like instantly dead silence. I could tell right then that my soul shot out of my body. And the reason I know that is because I started laughing and I became
Really?
two people. And I'm like, why am I laughing? Because I was scared to death. I thought I was going to die. Um, and it was the strangest thing. And I thought, I'm going to make a run for it to go in this house. That's when I heard Irene say, stay put. And I thought, that's weird because I know that's not me thinking that. Thank God I listened to her because here come another branch. It would have killed me. Fell right across the hood of my car.
Really?
And yeah, I couldn't get out of the car. I had to crawl over the back seat. Well, a tornado went through there. Just
Yeah.
a little patch.
Obviously, yeah.
And the house across the street, a tree fell on it. It was horrible. And so getting back to where my soul jumped out, of course, I got out of that and had to have my car was totaled. But there's a fragment of my soul that was still there. When we get traumatized, our a fragment of our soul breaks off and it stays there and it kind of is like on a little hamster wheel. So in the back of your mind in the matrix, it's playing over and over and over. So there was an aspect of me that's like, oh my God, I'm going to die in this
Really?
car. So that's why for people, this is what soul retrieval is. I do like a mini version of soul retrievals, but for the big major things, when people go through very traumatic things, there are people that do soul retrievals that they almost put you under hypnosis and goes on for hours sometimes. Um,
No.
so yeah, so spirit is with you a lot, or they are me. Um,
Yeah.
and my team is probably like, why does their team get to sit around and not do nothing? We got to work every day
You're
and try to
keeping them busy.
keep trouble.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, it makes for good conversation.
Yeah, that it does.
Yeah.
And yeah, that it does.
All right. We'll go ahead and end it for now, but we'll pick this up on part two
Okay.
sometime
Yeah,
in the future.
we have a lot of
I know you have plenty.
things.
So,
Yeah.
for everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. If you have a little spiritual event of your own, be sure and put it in the comment section. Otherwise, any questions or ideas for future topics, let us know as well. With that being said, we'll close it down and we'll talk to you next time.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Here.
Bye.